like I guess around that time, like I started like partying a lot. Like when I turned 19, like I was just going out with my friends a lot, and like in a weird way, I was just kind of like I was going to church and I was doing the Christian thing and I was like doing that on Sunday, and I was like a really good person, but I would like just go out all the time and just do what everyone else did, and then it was a lot of fun, but I think that like I never ever really had a problem with like drinking. I never really had a problem with like drugs or smoking or gambling or anything like that, but like the one thing that like always kind of tripped me up was like girls. Like I always wanted to talk to girls. I always wanted to meet new girls. I always wanted to like hang out with girls, and in like a weird way, it was like this kind of part of me that I felt I was kind of two people, and then at the beginning, it's like, yeah, those two people aren't that far apart, and then they keep kind of getting further apart from each other. I remember like I would tell girls, like I would tell them like, oh hey, I volunteer at church, or I would tell them like, oh, I go to my grandma's house every Sunday, because to give them this impression that I was like this super good guy, which is weird, like looking back on it. If I could apologize to all those people, I totally would. Anyways, one of these girls that I ended up hanging out with, we weren't even really dating at the time. We were just kind of kicking it. And we were hanging out, and we were messing around. And I remember like she told me one day, she came to me, she's just like I'm pregnant. And I was thinking to myself like how can this be happening? Like my whole life changed just like that. We weren't even like, she was my girlfriend and I wasn't her boyfriend at all. And like I was super afraid. But anyways, 3 months come around and I figure, okay, I gotta tell somebody. I gotta tell my parents. But so anyways, I remember calling him out. I called him to the garage of our house, and I told him, I was like, hey, like I got this girl pregnant. And he was like, how did you do that? You don't even have a girlfriend. And I just like told him, and I was kind of half expecting him to like come at me. But like I just remember like the first thing that he was telling me, like he was concerned about me, like he was worried about like how I was gonna make it happen, and how I was gonna take care of this new family I had, and how I was gonna like have a kid, And I remember just thinking like, that I probably like broke his heart pretty hard that day. But still, his reaction isn't let me hit back at this guy. His reaction was, man, how can I help this guy? Which is wild. I remember telling my mom, I went up to the bedroom. I remember telling my mom like, hey, like this is what's happening. And same thing, like I could just see it, like how disappointed she was and how worried she was about me. And it was tough. Like, I mean, that was probably the most difficult conversation I ever had in my life. That was super tough. I remember going to church that day to go tell Pastor Brent. And I remember kind of being worried, like I didn't know how he was going to react. Like I don't know if he was just going to be like, you can't be in sound, or if he was going to say like, or he was going to say like, don't even come back to church or something like that. Like I wasn't too sure like how he's going to react. But just that reaction of love from people was like one thing that made it easy for me to show up week after week. We get to this point where we're really enjoying like having this baby, or like expecting this baby, because it's your son. And I remember like seeing him the first time I seen him, just thinking like, I've never seen anything so beautiful in my entire life. Like I remember that. I remember the nurse taking him and putting him on the weigh scale, and they're like checking his fingers, taking all the measurements, and he stopped crying, and I remember him saying yeah, and I said yeah, and he said yeah back, and probably went back and forth like 4 or 5 times. Man, I remember like it's yesterday. I remember taking him home in that car seat. I remember putting him on the dinner table, and I remember looking at him and just thinking like, man, he looks like an angel, like. So the 2 weeks goes by, and I went to work that day, my first day back, and I remember coming home from work, and so his mom tells me like, oh, like he was like acting weird today, like he's not eating, and he keeps like stretching his body out. He's like, something's not right. And I think at that point he hadn't eaten for like 6 hours, which is a long time for a newborn not to eat. So I said, okay, well, let's go to the doctor. I figured, it's probably nothing serious, just let's see what's going on. So, and then next thing I know, they said that they couldn't handle it over there, so they want to take him to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto because he was having seizures, which is like super scary, right? Because like then I started to realize it's probably more serious than I thought it was. And we were staying at Sick Kids, like they had this room and we were just staying in there. So I remember he was on life support there, and they basically asked us like if we wanted to pull the plug, right? And what a decision you have to make as a parent. Like, I remember when they took all the wires off and we got to just be in the room with him again, like the way a baby's supposed to be, you know? I remember holding him though. No more wires, nothing, just us, you know? And I remember singing to him, Beatles, Do You Want to Know a Secret? Because I was in love with him, you know? So we had him there. He ended up passing away that day. Which is crazy because it's like I was on like this crazy journey where like just like 9-10 months ago I was at this point where it's like, why is this happening to me? To a point where it's like, yes, I can't believe this is happening to me. Back down to like this thing that I wanted just like taken away from me, you know? So anyways, it kind of gave it gave me and Melissa like a chance to figure out, okay, like, are we together for each other, or were we just together like because of this baby, right? Things just never ended up working out. She ended up moving back to the States, you know. But I always had that dream inside of me, like to have a family. Like I remember I met this girl through my cousin. I remember one night we ended up just like hanging out outside our house. We went to the park. We were like sitting on the swings, and I just remember having like a really deep conversation with her. We talked about all sorts of things, God and family, and it was like then I knew, like I was like, this is the girl I'm gonna marry, man. Like, what's amazing is like God has different plans for you. Is that even in your dark times, that God has like this master plan, that even though bad things can happen to you, that He can take those bad things that happen to you and still say, hey man, I still got stuff for you. I still got good stuff for you. I remember one of the verses that a friend of mine shared with me that was able to get me through those times was that, you know, that God is working all those things in your favor. Good things and bad things. He's molding them, working them out for your good. And in your dark time, you can't think about that. You can't think, man, something good can eventually come from this. You kind of just a little bit give up hope. But the truth is like that verse is real. Even though it was written so long ago, it still applies today, you know? And he was working all those things in my favor so that I could meet someone like Chan. So that we could get married. So that I could have another shot at having a kid and having my beautiful daughter Emma.